just like,
wow.
you know, like you just like,
well, this is going to be my personality for the rest of my life.
And then you have to see it 3 times in a row, back-to-back weekends in theaters. And it's basically out of theaters at that point, so you have to drive over an hour to see it one of those times. Yeah, me neither. So Lisa Frankenstein is this movie that came out last year, and I don't know, I thought it was okay. I painted this, by the way, because I like the movie a normal amount. So, obviously, when it came out, I knew I had to cosplay Lisa, in part because multiple people were telling me that I had to go watch the movie and that I was going to want to cosplay Lisa, which made me want to not do it, which is probably one of the many reasons why they were like, that's you, that's literally you. Anyway, so last August, I got this wig off of Amazon. I don't make any money from you theoretically going and buying this wig. I just want to help you. This is the wig that I used. And the curl pattern was fine. It was very modern. It wasn't really what I wanted. I tossed it up in rollers. I steamed it. I went to Fan Expo Chicago, which was super, super hot, super, super humid, and the curls basically completely fell out. So in all of the pictures that I have from that con, all of the videos, the waves are, it's wavy. It's not like a big poofy curly perm. So I knew that I wanted to restyle it, and I figured that when I did, I would film it so that I could make a tutorial on how I styled the Lisa wig, and also a little bit of a tutorial just on how I do some regular maintenance and upkeep on wigs that are tangled or not in great shape. I left this wig in a bag for like 6 months, so it was super tangled. So this serves as a dual purpose tutorial. In addition to your wig, you're gonna need some kind of clip to hold the hair back, like these, I don't know what these are called. Are they bill clips? I think they're bill clips, duck bill clips.
They are, in fact, duck bill clips.
I think it's duck bill clips. Something like this. Some kind of brush or comb, hair cutting scissors, preferably these over a pair of kitchen scissors. Don't use kitchen scissors on your wigs. Some kind of detangling spray. I use this Suave Kids Apple detangler spray that I've had for so many years. It doesn't come in this packaging anymore. I've never had a problem with it on wigs. I've been using it on wigs for as long as I've had this bottle. Foam rollers, specifically the smallest sizes. I think these are Conair ones. I don't know, I got them at Walmart a couple of years ago. And you're going to need some kind of steamer. Mine is the Rowenta Pure Pop one, and I love this thing. I love it. Best Christmas gift I have ever gotten.
First, just get that wig nice and situated on your block, pin it down, and start to separate it out into sections so that you'll be able to brush through it more easily. So since Lisa's style is in 2 sections, it was easy to just separate out into the top half and the bottom half and start brushing right away. While you're brushing, you're going to want to keep those fibers saturated with your detangling spray. I like working in smaller chunks at a time, about the size of maybe 3 fingers width of hair, and brushing from the bottom to the top rather than from the top down. And just keep sectioned off what is done and what isn't done. It'll be easy to tell initially because what you have brushed through will be wet and what you haven't will be dry, but the longer you go in the process as that fiber starts to dry off, it's just smart to keep sectioned out what's done and what isn't done for your own sanity's sake. For some tangles, it can be easier to brush them out if you use the tail of like a rat tail comb. I didn't mention that in materials because it's not necessary, but it can be helpful if you have an especially tough tangle but you don't think you're going to have to cut it out. This is a pretty time-consuming process, but as long as you're patient and you do keep working in those small chunks, it'll really help extend the lifespan of your wig. You may think that you're getting the tangles out by brushing really, really fast and really, really rough, but what you're doing is ultimately causing more damage than taking this slower and more detailed approach will. Because of the length of this wig, I don't have any video that actually shows me doing this, but if you have a knot and you've been brushing it and you've been doing everything and it's just not budging, you can always just snip it out. Doing that for a handful of knots isn't going to significantly decrease the thickness or length of your wig as long as you make your best effort to get them out another way first. Sometimes that really is the only option, is just to cut the snags out. Once you've got your wig ready to go, start by sectioning off 3 sections. Section out the bangs, the main body of the wig, and then a small section towards the front that's going to be your ponytail. And you're just going to want to brush that up until it's kind of at the top of the head. You're going to want it a little bit higher than you might put it on a normal head of hair, just because, especially on a wig, as the back of that cap gets stretched out, the ponytail will kind of fall to the back, and the higher it is and the closer it is to the bangs, the more it will look like it's on top of the head once it's actually on a person. Since this is a lace front wig that did not come with bangs, I had to add those myself, and since I filmed myself restyling the wig as opposed to styling it for the first time, I don't have footage of how I did the bangs, but basically I just pulled a small section of hair from the very front part of the wig and pulled it forward and then steamed like the fibers directly at the root so that they were forced to go forward. Then I trimmed them to the length I wanted, put them in bigger rollers, steamed them in the rollers, left them overnight, and brushed them out to get bangs. I'm sorry that I don't have full footage in this video, but that's the best I could do.
Now that you're done detangling, it's time to start curling. But before we do that, I want to talk about today's sponsor. I'm so excited. This is my first time having a sponsor, so thank you to HyperX for partnering with me for this video.
Today's video is sponsored by HyperX. HyperX sent me their Cloud 3 wireless headset for a review, and I was blown away by how incredibly comfortable it was. When I was wearing it, I actually forgot I was wearing a headset because it's so squishy and comfortable. It doesn't really feel like there's anything on your head. It has a battery life that lasts for up to 120 hours, which is double the amount of most average gaming headsets available on the market, and features a microphone that can actually be removed, which I think is super cool when you're not at your computer, you're not trying to talk to anyone, it's not in the way. You can just listen to music or stream something while you're working on a project. Be sure to use code LISAMOTH-15 for 15% off any HyperX product, or use the QR code the next time you're purchasing. Thank you again to HyperX for sponsoring this video. By far the most time-consuming part of the styling process is the curling. This is when you're going to take all of those little tiny foam rollers, the thinnest ones that you have, and you're going to take teeny tiny thin sections of hair, and you're just going to roll them up one by one and then pin them to the top of your wig head. This takes forever, but I promise it's worth it at the end. I ended up steaming the ponytail and the main body of the wig separately because I didn't have enough rollers to do both at the same time, but that's completely optional. If you have enough rollers to do both, you totally can. It'll save you time. I had to do this over the course of 2 days as opposed to just one. Please ignore my change in backdrop. There's not an outlet right by the closet door that I was filming in front of, so to steam I had to move to a different spot, and my curtain that I use as a TikTok backdrop sometimes was still hung up on the wall. When you're steaming rollers like this, I always try to get as close to the fibers as I possibly can with the head of the steamer so that they get kind of the max blast of heat and liquid. I want them to be super, super hot and wet to the touch before I stop steaming. I trap the moisture and the heat in with a grocery bag that I just put over whatever part I have steamed and curled. I usually pin that into place and then I leave it overnight so it traps all the moisture and the heat in there. After the curls have set overnight, I take the bag off and one at a time unpin and unroll the curls so that they're ready to be brushed out. This is what that top section looked like after I pulled the rollers out and gave it a quick little finger comb. You can see a huge textural difference between the top and bottom half because I filmed this before I repeated all of those steps over again for the bottom part of the wig. Lisa's hair has this tight curl that's been kind of brushed and frizzed out.
Your hair feels like Easter grass. How much cans of white rain you got in there, kid?
I think this method of curling captured that really, really well. Here she is in all of her giant 80s poodle perm glory. I'm super happy with how this wig turned out, and yes, it does feel like Easter grass.
I hope this video was at least a little bit helpful to you. If it was, please leave a like, please leave a comment. If you have any suggestions or video ideas, please leave a comment with those as well. If you stuck around this long and you're feeling so inclined, please subscribe. Thank you again to HyperX for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to use code LISAMOTH-15 at checkout on any non-sale items for 15% off and to help support the channel. We have the same hair. And when the movie came out, I said, I'm gonna go ginger so I don't have to get a wig. And everyone said, don't do that. I look like a heart. Aww. And I have an absolutely electrifying day. Mwah! I love you all. Be like, I like it. La da 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 da. Flying high upon the wings of love. Guess you belong to me, and I'm yours exclusively. And right now we live and breathe each other. And say